Hello everyone, it's Sammy from Push Square, and today I want to talk to you about PlayStation 4 exclusives. Now Sony obviously has the largest pool of first-party developers in the industry, and I thought it'd be fun prior to E3 to take a look at what all of those internal studios are working on. So, like the sun, we're going to rise in the east and move westwards until we've covered every developer in PlayStation's portfolio. Let's get started with Japan Studio. Japan Studio was in disarray up until recently, with Sony Santa Monica founder Alan Becker specially recruited by Worldwide Studios president Shuei Yoshida to steady the ship. According to one Kotaku report, at one point the directionless department had 40 or so titles in development. It's since tidied up its pipeline, releasing Knack and contributing heavily to the development of Bloodborne. But what's next? Well, the one game that we know Japan Studio is focusing on right now is The Last Guardian, which is on track to release this year. The hotly anticipated Bird Meets Boy adventure doesn't have a date yet, but with the PlayStation 4's power finally able to realise legendary director Fumito Ueda's vision, it will surely ruffle feathers at some point in 2016. Japan Studio is one of Sony's biggest developers though, so it'll have more in the pipeline than Catbirds. A Chinese animator's resume hinted at an unlikely Knack sequel earlier this year, and given the title's strong sales numbers in Japan, it could happen. And then there's Bloodborne. From Software said that it won't make any more Dark Souls games, but surely it'll consider another trip to the Hunter's Dream. Staying in Tokyo, we've got Polyphony Digital. The iconic automotive aficionados have been pumping out industry-leading simulation racers since the mid-90s, and that very much remains Kazunori Yamauchi and crew's charge. Gran Turismo Sport was announced at Paris Games Week last year, and while the developer's gone suspiciously quiet since, it did promise that a beta would arrive this spring. Expect more information on that to hit the starting grid at E3. Next destination, Europe. After a decade staring deeply into the glowing orange eyes of the Hellgast, Guerrilla Games has earned its attempt at a new intellectual property. And Horizon Zero Dawn proved one of those rare announcements where everyone seemingly instantly hopped on board. Our game of the show at last year's E3, there are still a lot of questions surrounding Aloy's post-apocalyptic adventure, not least whether it will actually release in 2016. Common sense says no, but with a project this promising, I'd rather the Dutch developer takes its time. From Amsterdam to Cambridge, the UK-based Guerrilla Cambridge may have cut its teeth with Medieval, but now it's knee-deep in the virtual reality realm. Riggs Mechanised Combat League is its current project, a Rocket League-esque future sports type experience that mixes speedball with mechs. This fast-paced first-person shooter is due out alongside PlayStation VR in October and is arguably the standout launch title from a selection that, to be frank, currently looks like a lot of tech demos. And if we're honest, a collection of tech demos is exactly what London Studios' PlayStation VR Worlds is. Combining pre-release showpieces like the London Heist and the Deep into one conspicuously inconsistent collection, I'm yet to be convinced that this bizarre selection of mini experiences is going to justify its asking price. With London Studio leading the charge in Sony's virtual reality push though, even going so far as to rebranding recently, I anticipate there will be many more VR experiences coming out of the capital over the coming months and years. I dreamed a dream of a game called Dreams, as the Les Miserables song goes. Media Molecule's been busy beavering away on the evolution of Play Create Share for many years now, with a beta due on the PS4 soon. I've got to be frank, I still don't fully understand how the Guildford-based studio's latest is actually going to work, so I suspect that the bulk of its year will be spent communicating exactly that. Manchester, the home of the Smiths, Old Trafford and Chip Barnes. And now of course the location of Sony's all-new wholly owned subsidiary, Northwest Studio. While we know very little about this team right now, it's believed to be working on a big-budget PlayStation VR game. Given the recent formation of the outfit however, I'm not expecting to hear anything from them anytime soon. And for our final destination, we're going to the home of fine hamburgers and even finer hot sauce, we're going to America. At the time of recording, Sony San Diego is the team to most recently put a title on store shelves with MLB 16 The Show. It's safe to assume, given the success of the series, that they'll follow that up with an all-new entry next year. However, the sports studio is starting to spread its wings a little, helping bring free-to-play initiatives like Guns Up, Kill Strain and Drawn to Death to market. The latter is of course the latest game from Twisted Metal creator David Jaffe. Expect it to experiment with more externally developed titles like that moving forwards. Oregon's hiding a big secret, and it's Sony Ben's next game. We know that the Siphon Filter developer has been hiring for this one for some time, and that it will probably take advantage of Unreal Engine 4. The most persistent rumour is that it's an open world horror game, and recently there's been some speculation that it's called Dead Don't Ride and involves motorcycle gangs in a post-apocalyptic setting. Is all of that true? Probably, but we'll surely find out at E3 in June. Sucker Punch is another studio that's been shrouded in secrecy since the release of infamous First Light a couple of years ago. All of the signs suggest that the Seattle-based developer will be moving on to a different IP, with rumours emerging recently that it may have been bitten by a radioactive spider as Sony starts work on an exclusive Spider-Man game. Is that really possible though? Stranger things have happened, but I reckon that it's more likely that Sucker Punch will create something brand new. However, I think that it's way too early for this to be announced yet, so you may want to hold your hype until at least 2017. One studio that you may not have to wait much longer to hear from, however, is Sony Santa Monica. It recruited God of War 2 director Cory Barlog to work on the iconic character action franchise a few years back, and I fully expect it to have something to show at E3 later this year. Apparently the firm's ditching Greek mythology in favour of Norse legend, though curiously it doesn't look like it's leaving lead Kratos behind. This is a series that seriously needs freshening up though, so I'm eager to see how it achieves that. In the meantime, there are lots of other externally developed projects on the way from Sony Santa Monica, including ballet-based indie experiment Bound and the next title from the unfinished Swan developer Giant Sparrow. This is the last stop. All change please, all change. I don't need to tell you what Naughty Dog's up to. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is out in a matter of days. It's what the company's got coming next that's the big question then. We already know that it's pledged one big single player expansion for Drake's latest, and The Last of Us Left Behind proved that the studio doesn't take half measures when it comes to DLC. After that, surely it'll start work on another The Last of Us. We know that it's already prototyped a sequel, and that can't be for nothing after all. Watch this space. So that concludes our tour of Sony's Worldwide Studios, but which projects have got you excited and which couldn't you care less for? Let us know, as always, in the comments section below, and remember to keep it locked to Push Square, where we'll have tons more on all upcoming PlayStation exclusives. Thanks for watching.